What are your thoughts when you see a Musk being at a Kevin McCarthy event, and Kevin McCarthy is one of the most hated guys on the left?
Well, you know, I don't have a problem with it, to be honest with you. I think you got to listen to all points of view. And Elon Musk is an important voice, you know, particularly since he may at some point own Twitter. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to cultivate a relationship with him. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that he does or says. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't keep the communications open.
I agree. And I fully agree with you there. The question, the challenge becomes if the nominee is a Trump and the two of them had a back and forth on Twitter where he calls him another bullshit artist, and then he comes out and says, look, I think we should just kind of move away from politics, and I think the moment your age starts with number 7, you shouldn't run anymore. And they had that back and forth. How this is going to look if the nominee is Trump? Would Musk support a Trump if he is the nominee, or would he go the other side?
I don't know.
That would be pretty interesting to see what happens there.
It would be interesting. But that's one of the reasons that I think it's important to keep the channels of communication open.
You said that earlier. Yeah.
The dialogue is so vitally important.
But what's the difference between a Musk sitting down with a Kevin McCarthy, you know, #1 guy in the House, and a
Soros
and a Gates sitting down with Joe Manchin? Isn't that exactly the same thing? A billionaire speaking with a major political figure.
That's exactly. That's exactly why I brought the story right afterwards. The only difference is the following. This is the only difference between the two. Whose motives do you trust more? Do you trust Bill Gates' motives, or do you trust Elon Musk's motives? That's the decision you got to make. Because, you know, like, let's just say if somebody is trying to judge you, and they say, who's in Adam's ear? They say, well, Patrick Bet-David's in Adam's ear. If a person doesn't trust Patrick Bet-David, they may say, I don't want Patrick Bet-David being in Adam's ear, right? And so, oh, let me tell you who's in that guy's ear. So you have to sit there and say, would you rather have an Elon Musk in someone's ear or Bill Gates in someone's ear? The voter has to decide that, because both of them are in the top 5 most powerful people in the world when it comes down to money. You can only add a couple other names to that list. You can ask Bezos and maybe a couple other guys, but they're both in the top 5 at any given moment. So who do you trust more, Gates or Musk?
And by the way, they've got some internal beef themselves, right?
Who do you trust more, Gates or Musk? Who do you think has more of a best interest for America between the two?
Personally, I would come down on the Musk side.
Okay. Yeah.
And what's the biggest reason why? Because you already said that you're not a big fan of Musk, right?
Right, but because of his concern about freedom of speech. And like I said, I don't agree with him on everything, but I think freedom of speech is such a vital part of who we are as a nation.
And do you have a beef with Bill Gates? Is there something about Bill Gates you're like, I don't really like what he's doing with that thing? What would that be?
Well, I think his tremendous emphasis on the climate above everything else is problematic for me.
What do you think his motive is with their speculation?
I think he kneels at the altar of climate, like so many others on the left. And because of that, they believe themselves to be righteous. And when they believe themselves to be righteous, anybody who opposes them, you know, you can lie to them, you can do anything you want to them. And I don't agree with that kind of philosophy.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.